This is The Hour. Your week, your news, your show.
You're listening to 103.6 FM, Tameside Radio. This is The Hour, and a very special guest joins me in the studio today. This is Trish Morris from Action Together, Miles for Smiles. Nice to see you.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's great to see you. Now, so this is a very special week, isn't it? Because it's all about community transport.
Yes, it's Community Transport Week, and this is a really great national opportunity to just spotlight the fabulous work that's done by community transport schemes.
We don't realise, do we, what great organisations are in our community?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I think with Miles of Smiles, the people who know it, but it's not just Miles of Smiles in Tameside. There's Lifeline Ambulance, there's Transport for Sick Children, and there's Being There as well.
Now, in terms of the community transport section, this is a thing that's done across the UK.
Yes.
So it's not just a local thing around
It's not just a local thing. This is being promoted by the Community Transport Association, which is a national organisation that represents the interests of community transport schemes.
So we're talking about essential lifelines, we'll use that word, because it is a lifeline for people who cannot get from A to B, like hospital appointments and things like that, I guess.
Exactly. And the thing about all the schemes in Tameside is that we all do work with people who have health conditions and who are going to some kind of hospital appointment or who need some extra support.
Great stuff. Now, you work for Action Together. We've heard a lot about Action Together.
Yeah.
Who are Action Together and what do they do in the community? Action
Together is an organisation that helps voluntary community and faith groups. So it's what they call an infrastructure organisation. So what we do is we advise groups, we help them promote their services. Say, for instance, one of the things we do is that we help organisations find volunteers, and then...
That's so important, isn't it? Because
it is.
All these organisations don't run without the power of volunteers.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just from Miles of Smiles' point of view, if we didn't have volunteers, Miles of Smiles, it would be me, a computer and a telephone. And, what use would that be?
Yeah.
So, it would be nothing without our volunteers.
And I guess if somebody's looking to volunteer, you are a central source of information in terms of what's available around the area.
Absolutely, because people can log onto our website and they can look at what volunteering opportunities are available in the area.
And of course, you advise as well. If anyone's unsure about volunteering and the benefits of volunteering as well, you can offer some tips and advice.
Absolutely.
And we've got some great guests coming up in this hour, haven't we?
Yes, we have. So we've got Marianne from Transport for Sick Children. We've got Penny from Lifeline, and we've got Susan from Being There.
Looking forward to this. Thank you very much, Trish, for the moment. This is Tameside Radio. We'll be speaking to more of these guests very shortly here in just a moment. This is 103.6 FM, Tameside Radio. This week is Community Transport Week, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of the organisations in Tameside, Being There. And Sue joins me. Sue, a warm welcome.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Lovely to be here this morning.
So, Being There, the charity, what's it all about?
Yeah, OK. So, Being There is a fantastic charity. We're actually a Greater Manchester charity, but I'm the volunteer recruitment coordinator at Being There Tameside. So, basically, the charity provides a befriending service to people living with cancer and other life-limiting illnesses such as heart disease, respiratory problems, strokes, and other problems obviously affecting the health and well-being of people.
I think when people do get an illness or diagnosed an illness, there's lots and lots of appointments to attend, isn't there?
Yeah.
This is life-changing stuff, and it can be a nightmare having to the stress of getting to an appointment is hard enough to manage. This is where you can help.
That's right, yeah. So our Being There charity, what we offer is a variety of support to people across Tameside, including one-to-one home visits, but we also offer transport to hospital appointments. We've got groups, social groups, which again we need transport to get people to and from those social groups. And we've also got a counselling service actually being there as well, called Being There, which is really important and helpful to those people who are maybe isolated, lonely, or experiencing episodes of low mood as well.
It can be quite traumatic, I imagine, if you are diagnosed with an illness, and
Definitely.
It's who do you talk to, what do you talk about, and it's all those unknown questions, isn't it? And having someone to talk to is a massive help.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got a team of amazing volunteers who offer weekly telephone contact or face-to-face befriending support in a client's home between 1 and 2 hours a week. So whether it's a 20-minute call or a 2-hour home visit, volunteer contact can make all the difference to a person living with a life-limiting illness, or to their carer as well, because we're there to support the carer. So practical support may be offered, such as taking people to the shops, or it might be emotional support, being a listening ear to people wanting to express how they're feeling on that particular day.
So the organisation Being There, you're all over the place, you're across Greater Manchester, and you're based here in Tameside.
That's right. Well, actually, we've just relocated from offices in Duckingfield, and now we were all Greater Manchester Being There branches have all been relocated to the Grange Community Resource Centre, which is just up the road from Etihad now, but we were previously in the old courthouse at Duckingfield.
And you're quite heavily led by volunteers as well.
Yeah, definitely. We've just, without our volunteers, we're nothing. That's how it stands. So that's what we're here for today, because obviously being Transport Week, we've got a number of people in need of transport. So we're currently looking to recruit volunteer drivers who can support our clients to and from appointments, or to drive people to our social groups in Tameside.
So what is a typical volunteer's role then? I mean, do you have to have your own car? How does it work with that? And
OK, so with the befriending volunteers who are supporting people in the home, they don't have to have their own car, they don't have to drive, and we will, for any out-of-pocket expenses for bus or tram travel, then we can pay those expenses back to people. Obviously for drivers, we need someone that's got a clean driving licence, but there's so many different roles at Being There. So to be a befriender in the home, then you don't need to be able to drive, and we will make sure that people aren't matched to a client too far away from where they're actually living. You don't want to be on top of someone's house, obviously, but you don't want to be taking all day to get to a client's home as well. But yes, for the driving, you have to have a clean driving licence. Possibly you do have to have your own car. We're looking into what we can do about minibus hire and things like that. We're actually fundraising for a minibus at the moment, but obviously that takes time. So it
must be a very rewarding role, being a volunteer, helping and supporting people who are going through what must seem like a crisis situation sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our volunteers, like I say, they're amazing. And right from the start, when they look into becoming a volunteer with Being There, we always share the information about how the process works, what kind of support they're giving, because obviously they're not specialists. They're not advisory, but it's a befriending service, so they are there to be that listening ear and to be the company for people who are living on their own. They may not have family close by. They may not have family living close by. So it's a lovely relationship that people build up on. And we make sure that we offer training to our volunteers as well.
That's a very important thing, isn't it? Training.
Yeah,
what
definitely.
kind of training do you offer?
Yeah, so basically what happens is once someone applies to be a volunteer, so you can either apply apply on our website. We've got an online application form there, or we can post out a paper application form to people. Once we've received that back in, either myself or our fantastic branch manager Suzanne will get in contact with that person and have a chat about what it is what do they know about being there, what's brought them to apply, because it's really important to find out what it is people are wanting to do and what their experience has been in the past as well. And then once we've processed that application form, we always ask for 2 references. We have to complete a DBS check, a background check as well. Once that's completed, once that's gone through, then people can be invited onto the training, and it's quite specialist training as well, and it's all about empathy. And I think before you go on the training, you think, I know about empathy, I totally get it, until you actually come on our training, and it's like, wow, that kind of blew my mind a little bit, because it's so interesting. It's such an important part of the support that we're giving to clients.
Yeah, you can't just walk in someone's house, can you? And
no.
Question for you. So, if somebody has made connection with a volunteer, do they get that same volunteer throughout their journey? You know, if it's a regular weekly thing, for example, or do they meet different volunteers? Yeah,
I mean, what we're trying to do is we're trying to empower the clients as well. So it's really important that the volunteers have regular supervisions with Suzanne, the branch manager in Tameside, so that those conversations can be had about how people are feeling about their befriending role, because it is a befriending role. So we have to ensure that the volunteers are aware that we need to know when they're visiting the client. We need to know about the contact that they're making with the clients as well, so we can ensure that it is empowerment that's happening for the client. And that there may be at some point that actually the volunteer says, well, actually, I feel like there's a friendship that's developed here, which is absolutely amazing. But obviously that changes the relationship, the befriending relationship. So what often happens is then the volunteer will continue to have a friendship with that person, and they may go on to support another client to offer that support.
A question for you. In terms of people using the service, is that a referral basis?
It is.
How does that work?
Yeah. So we have different professionals who will refer clients into our service. We have social prescribers at the GP practices. We have social workers. Lots of different professionals who will refer in, and that's part of my role as volunteer recruitment coordinator, and the role of my job share partner Jeff, who's also out and about in Greater Manchester. We're out and about doing all the promotions and going to the events and making sure that the word is out there. We've got things like a QR code, which is really important, because if you go into an event, technology is there, isn't it? So people want to be able to very quickly, not have to write down an email address or a website, but they can just click on there. And it's really important to be able to offer that.
It really sounds great, this. It is being there, based around here in Tameside. If anyone's interested to find out a little bit more now about this, are you on social media? Have you got a website? How do people get in contact?
Yeah, so I can give you all the details, Mark, about how people can get in contact with us. But what I'd say is if you just go on to www.beingthere.org.uk, we've got all the information. You've got all the staff information as well. Basically, or you can give us a ring, or, you're very welcome to get in touch with us on Facebook.
Brilliant.
Or Instagram as well. Nearly forgot about that.
It's the modern way, isn't it?
Yeah. So we are on Facebook. So, feel free to like us and to follow us, Facebook and Instagram as well.
It's been lovely talking to you, say so, and really good insight into being there. An amazing organisation helping people to get, to A to B, plus being a befriending service as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck for the future. Sue from Being There, our Community Transport Week. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mark. Thanks for having me today.
Welcome back. We're talking about community transport here on Tameside Radio, and I'm delighted to be joined by Marianne from the Transport for Sick Children. Hello, nice to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, it's great to see you, and a big part of this week all about community transport. Who are Transport for Sick Children? How has it all started?
We're a charity. So we were established back in 1977, so we've been around for 40 odd years now. We're based in Stockport, but we cover all of Greater Manchester, so obviously including Tameside. We have an amazing team of volunteer drivers who take children to hospital appointments throughout the area.
And I'm guessing you have a team of volunteers behind the scenes to make all this work.
Yeah, we have our volunteer drivers. We have about 35 at the moment throughout Greater Manchester, but we don't actually have many in the Tameside area. Mm-hmm. And we have an office team as well behind that.
Getting from A to B is so difficult if you haven't got transport, and when you go into appointments, for example, that can be traumatic enough. Never mind sort of finding parking or places like that. This is where you can help.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many families. I mean, the poverty figures are scary at the moment for the amount of children that are in poverty in Greater Manchester. It's something like 30-odd%. Really? There's so many families out there that are struggling to put food on the table. Never mind take the children to hospital appointments. And sometimes the appointments, they're not around the corner. They might be in North Manchester. They might have to go to Alderhay. They might be in Tameside. They might have to go to, say, Trafford or to Salford. Mm-hmm. So our drivers are there to support those families.
So how does it work in terms of, you've got drivers, is it their own vehicles they use? How does all that work, and how do you become a volunteer?
So it's drivers use their own vehicles, so we have all different sizes of vehicles from small to big, whatever you've got. We supply the child car seats. Obviously, with it being children, we supply 2 different car seats depending on the age of the child. We pay mileage on a monthly basis, and it doesn't affect your car insurance either. So you just need to ring your insurer and which I'm sure applies to the other organisations as well, as it's a voluntary role. Just let your insurer know that you're volunteering.
I'm guessing your insurance doesn't shoot up that much.
No, it's not classed as business use, so it's just letting them know that you're doing a voluntary role.
It's always an interesting question, that, because, like I say, the moment you start using your vehicle for other reasons, other uses, the insurance go, it's going to cost you thousands of pounds.
No, we've not had any issues. Our drivers just let the provider know, and then we've not had any issues.
It must be so reassuring for a family with a young person who haven't got transport and things like that there's going to be somebody there to take them and bring them back again.
Yeah, exactly. It's a friendly face. They're picking up a time that suits the family. They're not having to hang around. The driver will then wait for them, or they will come back later if it's a longer appointment. It's a driver, it's somebody there that they can rely on. We have a lot of families that we have to take quite regularly. They have very regular appointments, and they just wouldn't be able to get there that often. They wouldn't be able to afford it. They don't have a car. They often can't get there on public transport. So
in terms of funding then, do people pay for this service?
No, it's not a paid service. No, we're funded indirectly through the NHS.
Brilliant. That's really reassuring to hear that. And like I say, you become a friend if you're doing regular visits as well. Yeah,
it is. A lot of our drivers do get to know the families, which is, it's lovely.
Okay. And if anyone's looking to maybe get into volunteering, for example, who does it appeal to? What's your perfect role model for a volunteer?
I wouldn't say there is a perfect one. It's anybody that's got their own vehicle, has a bit of spare time, and just wants to help families in their community. It's really flexible. I think that's the thing about driving in general, really. It's quite a flexible role. It's not going to a charity shop once a week on a certain day. It's something that you can fit in around other commitments. So if you think you've got a bit of spare time, then, give us a call.
This sounds great. Is there a point of contact for you? You say a call. What's the best place to find out a little bit more about Transport for Sick Children? Yeah,
you can visit our website. So it's transportforsickchildren.org. There's a lot of information on there. Or you can give us a call on 0161 443 4122. And it's myself, Marianne, or Laura, who's the charity manager.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and a little good insight to Transport for Sick Children. You're looking for volunteers around Tameside, though, aren't you?
Yes, we very much need volunteers in Tameside. So, yes, if you're interested, do get in touch.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
This is 103.6 FM Tameside Radio. Welcome back. It is, of course, Community Transport Week, and we're talking to some of the amazing organisations around the area that support people in terms of transport, getting A to B. One of those organisations is Lifeline Ambulance CIC, and I'm delighted to be joined by Penny. Penny, warm welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. You've been around for quite a while in terms of an organisation in Tameside, providing some essential work for the community. In a nutshell, what do you do?
We help take people to hospital appointments or to meet friends or to family events for those who can't take normal, or what we would consider normal, transport.
Okay. You've got some great vehicles as well, because one of the things that what I'm going to ask you about is disability, because not everybody is good on the feet, for example. There might be wheelchairs or walkers. You can help with this, can't you?
Yes, we can. We have a wheelchair accessible vehicle, so we can take people who can't mobilise fully. So it might be they're restricted to mobilising with sticks, or they might have to use a wheelchair to get from places. So we can support them fully to get to their appointments.
For somebody who has mobility issues, and if they didn't have your service, that would be a potential big problem for them to get to appointments.
It can usually mean that they'd have to wait for an NHS ambulance, which then means that they could be waiting up to 4 hours possibly after their appointment to be taken home, whereas we like to wait with the patient and be able to take them home straight after their appointment.
That's really not good. So you're actually with the patient, obviously not in the room, or you're waiting outside?
We'd take them to the appointment where it is within the service, or to the family event, sometimes it is. And then we would wait, or we would arrange a time to come back for them.
She's like a chaperone service, basically.
Kind of, yeah.
That's really good. That's really good. Not only that, you do a lot of work in the community as well as Lifeline Ambulance, don't you?
Yes, we like to do as much as we can for the community, because that's what we're here for, really.
So examples of that, events, providing first aid and things like that?
Yeah, we provide first aid for local events. We have gone as far as Wakefield this year.
So branching out a bit.
Yeah, we are, open to travelling if we're needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like to do what we can.
Brilliant. Now, in terms of people who are in your organisation, you do rely heavily, like all the other good organisations, on volunteers.
Yeah, very, very much so. It's very important to recognise that volunteers are very much appreciated and needed. We have a great team, but we're always looking for more.
So again, in terms of the volunteer, for what's a good volunteer for you? With someone with their own transport, I guess?
They don't necessarily have to drive, because sometimes you might need somebody to come and sit with the patient in the back, or the person in the back. Just somebody who wants to give back and wants to support their community.
Make a real difference.
Yeah,
it's so important, isn't it?
It is. It's
I think
important.
What we're hearing today, and with all the other organisations, is the fact there's a real need for services like yourself, because without them we can't always afford and rely on taxis and Ubers and things like that.
I think sometimes if you're unaware of people's struggles and the issues around you, then it kind of gets ignored, because unless you do things like this to promote it and make people aware that there's people out there struggling, people don't recognise it.
How do people get in contact with you? In terms of, is there a list to go through, a criteria? If somebody's listening now thinking, right, I've got mobility issues, I cannot get to hospital, Lifeline Ambulance could potentially help.
We potentially could. We have a conversation with the person before we agree to transfer them. We have to be very careful, because certain people we won't be able to transfer because they might have extensive medical needs, and therefore they'd need people who are a little bit more trained, or if you've heard of the CQC, we're we're guided by them as to who we can and cannot transfer sometimes, just due to regulations. So, yeah, we'd have a conversation with the patient. If we felt we couldn't help, we would look at ways that we could find help for them. So we wouldn't just abandon
You've got connections everywhere.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Again, with volunteering, how do people get in contact with you, Penny, to look at offering their services to Lifeline Ambulance?
They can email help@lifelineambulance.co.uk, or check out our Facebook and send us a message on there. We do have a website which is currently being revamped, but yeah, just get in touch.
Get in touch. Penny, it's been great to speak to you today. Thank you very much for joining us on this very special Community Transport Week.
Thank you very much.
This is The Hour. Your week, your news, your show.
I'm back with Trish from Action Together, Miles for Smiles. We've heard some great interviews today from some brilliant organisations, haven't we?
Oh, it's been inspiring, hasn't it? Isn't it fabulous what we've got in Tameside?
We don't realise what's on our doorstep.
Absolutely.
And I think the thing is as well is people need to realise that there is support out there for people if they are struggling to get from A to B, whether it's for sick children, whether it's for people with disability issues. There are transport services out there.
Absolutely. And they just need to get in touch, and, we're waiting to help.
Your contact details, how do people get in contact with the service? With
Miles of Smiles, probably the best thing to do is to ring us. Our number is 0161 622 2090, or they can get in touch with us through the Action Together website. If they search for Miles of Smiles, they'll find our webpage.
Fantastic. Trish, it's been amazing to speak to you today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you,
you.
Mark. Thanks for inviting us.